this is kind of strange, you know? North Fort Myers area. Yeah.
That's what their address
Yep.
is.
How we're gonna cover the
It's
cost
still
of that.
freezing.
It's cold out there.
Almost.
Yeah.
Cold.
No, you can keep it.
There's Bob.
I'll use it for paper.
Yeah, there's an extra here if anybody needs it. Bob, was there no parking? Oh, because when I came, there was plenty. So a bunch of people must have come in there. You can always go over to the church.
Yeah,
And
that
park.
was my next step. I
Yeah.
probably parked in the town, one of their spots. But
Ah,
Randy said we're good.
okay. I think we'll go ahead since we'll let Bob sit and then get up again. I call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which
Right. Roll call is, right now, we have everyone here but Greg, and hopefully he'll come in. Public comment? Would you like to make a comment at this time? Yes. Okay, you don't have to. We have another time at the end as well. If you want to make a comment, you need to come up to the mic.
I'm Jim Davis. I have a home on Back Bay,
Okay?
27 Estero Boulevard. I've known this character over here, Bob, for I don't know how many years.
40 plus.
So I just wanted to sit in and see what you guys do and understand the mooring process.
Okay. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Jim, his family owned Pink Shell.
Oh, okay.
And we all grew up on the island together, and he has a home down there on one of the family lots on the bay. And he heard we were putting in the new mooring field and stuff out there, and he was asking how all that worked, and I told him about it, but I said, you ought to come to the meeting and listen, so that's why he's here today.
Great, thanks. Thanks for coming. We appreciate people coming to find out what's going on, that don't necessarily have a boat, but are interested in what we're doing. Thank you. Approval of minutes. We have two minutes, November 17th and December 15th. Is there a motion? Can we approve them together, or do we have to approve them separately?
together.
Unless there's any issues with them. Anybody have any comments, questions, changes?
Bob Beasley, a motion to accept.
Jim Lurie, second.
Okay. More discussion? All in favor to accept November 17th and December 15th minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Staff report.
We got the locks on the ask or answer haven't had any. We went with deadbolts with that seemed. I've hired a holiday services for us on. Well, we've been getting a lot of compliments on. Just taking it over. The new curtains and new. The the pump out boat's been relocated, and across in the county side, and been starting pump outs a little late. Cancel all the coins in the laundry facilities. There's no longer any coins accepted in the laundry facilities. It's just all card, especially with the coin shortage that we had and things that we discussed in the last that as well. With everything else, the field has been at 100%, I believe, since last meeting. We have, as of today, we have 14 people on our wait list trying to come into the field. We've had to turn away multiple boats, pretty much about 3 a day, in trying to get people into the field. I guess the state of Florida right now is seeing an influx in transient boaters. So marinas and slips are filled up as well as mooring fields throughout the state. And ours is being one of those mooring fields. And we don't have any signs of anything slowing down through February. We do have a wait list, and we do have requests coming in up and through February as well. We've had a couple issues about depth with these low tides. We've had, I think, a complaint from one patron. They weren't happy with the depth that they were at, but with the limited number of systems that we have, we're kind of limited. We can accommodate. Are working with trying to maneuver boats around according to how they stay and the vessels that they are in to try to accommodate the vessels for best swing radius and depth that they can. The mail's still an issue. We've been working with people in the post office and trying to get them to redeflect mail to the post office. We've had a few issues where people have gone ahead and or had letters delivered to the office, and the mail has been ending up in random spots, and a few days later it ends up. So it's just kind of a testament of why we don't have mail delivered to the building there. We have hired a new employee, Joe Dunn, who has ongoing training. He does come from a boating background and does have background in maritime. So he's getting certified and everything that he's certified in order to help us out in the field. He's been a real help in getting the boats and everything back up to par. We've been updating all of our safety equipment, all our vessels. We've been bringing all the maintenance up to par as far as getting the bottom paint done, new props put on, and just all of the preventative maintenance upkeeping that the boat requires. We've been catching up as well this month as well. With the field being at capacity, we've been really just monitoring the systems. There's been a lot of traffic in and out, so the systems are being used quite a bit to where the growth is being kept at a minimum, especially with the pennant lines and everything being out of the water. We haven't had much complaints or any growth on the systems themselves requiring much maintenance at this time. As soon as things start slowing down, we have, like I said, got our maintenance boat back up to par, so we are ready to service systems where it is needed. Pump outs are running from about what we would standardly see from 2 hours a day. They're up to about 4 hours a day. We've implemented mandatory pump outs in the field from our past discussions. That is running a course. We're doing the odd numbers on Mondays, even number systems on Wednesdays, and any makeups in between on Fridays. We do get a lot of requests throughout the week. And we haven't halted on requests throughout the weeks. We'll do requests Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. We just dedicate Friday as pretty much a makeup day for anybody that needs multiple pump outs, or if they need, or if they've come in after a day where they haven't been served. So that hasn't been an issue. A lot of the signage in the field has been updated. We are just catching up on a lot of the small signage that we're coming across with the old Matanzas numbers and the old information. We are continuing to find things online through blogs and through other terms of information that's out there. We're trying to get that altered to where that we can get that updated to our new office numbers. Like I said, key fobs have been issued. We've implemented a $25 deposit on them. If they are lost, then we require a $25 return on those as well. We did install a fob return box in the laundry room, so we require that to be dropped off in the laundry room prior to your departure from the mooring field. Helps us out. Lately, we haven't had many departures, so that hasn't been really turning over many of the fobs here lately. As soon as that takes off, we'll soon see a lot more turnover on the fobs. The Dinghy Area has been under construction. I don't know if you're aware of the situation at our Dinghy Area with the DOT walkover and the fishing pier there. They went ahead and removed the stairs at that place, so now we have some barrels up there with some signage as well to keep people deterring from going up to the fishing pier. We continue to deter people from fishing from the dinghy dock. That seems to be an issue. We've had the normal complaints about dinghy usage and the limited dinghy space that we do have at the area. We just explained to people about spreading out the dinghy usage as far as using the Bay Oaks facilities as well, or the launch over here behind Town Hall. We've had some furniture brought into the mooring field office that we're working with. We're reorganizing the office here, trying to get it to be more streamlined as far as customer usage, as far as staff usage, and getting to where we need to get our permits more accessible, and to getting all of our signage and stuff else up more accessible to the patrons as well. We've started surveying the south end of the island. We're trying to update all of our signage and all of our requirements on the south end as far as seagrass areas goes, manatee zones and things like that. We're working with coastal engineering, getting that updated and getting all that brought up to par to state regulations.
We were notified by, but we are out of compliance with regards to our permit for the seagrass area down at the south end. So we're expeditiously getting those ordered and put back in as soon as possible. As you all may know, our environmental team side of the building has a bid out for, I think it's Laguna Shores dredging. As part of that project too, we, working in tandem with Chad, we have to make sure all of that permit with regards to signage and buoys is compliant. So he's working on the dredging side, but we want to make sure we get back into compliance with regards to that permit. So Austin and Coastal are working together to get that done sooner than later.
Other than that, the field has, like I said, been at 100%. We've been trying to work it in. There is a clause for departures in the field to where when lease balls or lease systems, the vessels depart, that we can sublease them. So we've been subleasing these out with communications with the leaseholder. So here, for the last month, I think we've been running at about 102%. So that's where you get the over percentages that you'll see as far as subleasing this up. All right.
Bob Beasley, what's the, going on with the DOT removing the stairs on the bridge, or on that pier under the bridge? What you were talking about?
Yes, so that doesn't belong to the town. That is a DOT, it's a DOT, it belongs to DOT. And apparently, there you go.
So, long story short, when we went to apply and clean up all of our submerged land leases for the expansion, DOT was a little surprised that they had a fishing pier underneath the bridge. And we were working with them on figuring out, because there are repairs that are needed. Austin's been hounding for probably the last year with regards to the seawall. And that fishing pier, the railing on the stairs was needed repaired or replaced. And so in communication with FDOT and town staff, DOT wanted to turn over the seawall and the fishing pier to the town for us to maintain. And as you all may know, most of you live on the water yourself, a seawall is quite expensive. And that's, in my opinion, is considered structural instead of paid with FDOT. But the town, opted not to continue the maintenance of that fishing pier, and FDOT didn't want to maintain it. So they are making strides to removing that. So the stairs are gone, and I don't know what FDOT's timeline of removal of that fishing pier is.
Pam, for the record, along those same lines, everybody was fishing from there, and fishing definitely doesn't go with inflatables. I wondered if we could maybe, I know on Big Carlos Pass Bridge, well, it's regulated, but there's a sign between the bridge says no fishing between the signs. I wonder if there's any way we could get signage put up, no fishing between signs, on that seawall.
Good idea.
Yeah.
We have a beautiful site about mid-island on the bay, Connecticut Street, that has a beautiful observation pier and is a great fishing spot. So all of those avid fishermen that,
Because if they're not fishing off the catwalk there, if they're fishing off the seawall, that's really gonna come into the dinghies.
great point, we'll look into it.
I just was gonna, talk a little bit about the depth issues that we've been having. Do we have any kind of a depth chart for the mooring field now at all?
I don't have a current one. I can ask our engineer.
It's been my concern with the new spot, the new place where we're going to put in buoys, because it's even shallower. And there are multiple buoys in the current field that our boat can't go on. I just wondered also, when we're talking about assigning people buoys, if that's why I think it's really important we have a depth chart of our field, because there are boats that are our depth too, that there are multiple buoys now that they shouldn't go to at regular tide, and then, at extreme tides, we'd be over on our side. So, we need to have that be a consideration when we're assigning buoys, as well as length.
Length is definitely already taken into
I
consideration.
know it is. B2 and,
We'll work on that.
So I think we should have a more current chart if it's available, or try to get something.
We'll look into it.
Things change, obviously, over the years, and even the almost 20 years that the field's been in.
Absolutely.
The new field should be up to par. They did the soundings on that when they recently, didn't they?
I'll have to follow, we did those permits like a year ago, so I'll have to follow up and see.
More recently than the older field.
Yes, exactly. Oh, speaking of the expansion, I received a call the other day from the grant administrator for the FBIP program, which is where we are awarded the construction funding for the expansion. Long story short, when we went to town council with the resolution to apply for the grant, at the same time they authorized, if awarded, the town manager to move forward to execute the grant. So that FBIP has some money sitting in a pot that they have to spend by the end of this month. And I said, that's great. Send me the agreement. We'll get it signed. So it should be any day now that we should be getting that grant agreement for the construction of the mooring field. So then you'll see, if you haven't, I don't know if the agenda's been posted, but on Monday we're going to town council with a supplemental task authorization for coastal engineering consultants for the bid process, construction administration, and construction engineering inspection, as well as some other miscellaneous tasks for this expansion project. And so that'll go to town council for their approval. I think it's $29,000 on Monday. So we're moving forward. So the plan would be next steps, get the grant fully executed, get the STA executed. Coastal engineering would start putting together the bid package, which of course, as you all know, when we go out to bid it, is a minimum 30 days it has to be out on the street. So we're hoping to bid that out here in peak season, with construction happening after Easter, when we start to see the numbers dwindle. But there's definitely material acquisition concerns, which is why we want to get this out sooner than later in regards to the grant.
That's the Monday regular meeting.
Yes, sir.
Was postponed from this Monday till next month.
Yes, sir.
How much is that grant?
130-some thousand.
Are we getting anything from WCIND, or are they doing anything?
WCIND grant application period, I believe, for next fiscal year opens up in the next month or two. So of course we'll be going to town council and asking to apply for that grant like we do every year for the additional law enforcement. Also, FBIP grant cycle opens February 1st for next fiscal year. So we're trying to see what, if any, projects are viable that we could apply for. We've been very successful every time we've applied, knock on wood, for this FBIP program, this grant opportunity. I've been successful in receiving those funds, so brainstorming different projects that we could potentially apply for grant funding for, as well as the Big P, which is the federal grant, the Boating Infrastructure Grant Program. That one's a little bit harder to get, but we have received that in the past, but grants are always on our mind here when it comes to Springfield. Plenty of them out there.
Mike Ratliff, just update me on the dinghy dock, the new dinghy dock, the expanded.
So that, we received a request for additional information from the Army Corps of Engineers. We could not apply to FDEP for Bayside Park Dinghy Dock until we closed out the expansion permit, which, as you all know, we've received that. So we did apply for FDEP for Bayside Park Dinghy Dock. I will be frank, there has been some opposition from budding property owners. We have to address the concerns in the request for information. So Coastal Engineering is working on that, but that's kind of where we're at. We're stuck until we can answer those questions.
Are they concerned about room for getting traffic in and out for
Yes.
their boats?
Yes.
On the Snug Harbor side?
Both
Or both
sides.
sides?
Both sides. It's the same property owner, different business owners, but we have received opposition from both sides.
That would be Nervous Nellies and Snug Harbor.
Yes, sir.
That moves along, need to maybe make sure that they're built all the way out, that they move back to provide the same kind of clearance that we provide, or is that going to be the debate?
I don't know that that's possible because town council approved their build out, I guess you could call it. So again, we're filtering through all of the documents and the past town council approvals and seeing what we can do.
Well, hopefully we'll get the maximum dockage, near dockage for that area and still be able to pull in and out.
We're trying to be kind to our neighbors, but also understanding that the town does have a right there as well, so.
We need linear footage, no matter which way it is, probably.
Questions? Guys?
You have the occupancy numbers, you have the unaudited budget numbers. As you can see, we're very pleased. Staff have hit it out of the park. You guys are doing a fantastic job down there. It's one full-time Austin as the harbor master and 3 part-time employees. It has been difficult. We've managed. I've even had to flex down there some days and cover the office, short-staffed. Holidays, Randy has too. So staffing is definitely something we are looking at, especially moving forward. Budget will start in July for next fiscal year. And this is a full operation. This is a full department. We want to expand. We want to continue to grow, looking at the strategic plan. These are all things that keeping in mind as we approach budget season that these guys are stretched thin, I'll be frank. They are doing a fantastic job given the constraints that they have, so.
It's like occupancy is all-time high.
Again, kudos to these guys. They're communicating with the patrons when they're, if somebody's going out on a 3 or 4 day sale, we're able to rent that per the harbor management plan for those days. And again, trying to accommodate as many people as we can and try to keep that field at 100% occupancy.
Further? Strategic plan review then. I think what we're waiting for now, because I think we got all the way through the document, is we need the updated what we've done.
Okay, we'll work on updating that.
I
My
mean-
focus was the harbor management plan.
And I
this
understand that.
afternoon,
I'm just saying, in this category, I think we got all the way through it in our last meeting, and we're just waiting for the finalized version to make sure it's what we agreed.
we'll get it
And that's
updated.
fine. I knew you were doing that other project. There's a lot of projects, so.
We will, we'll have that updated for your next meeting, which speaking, I mean, we'll get to it at the end, but, I did send out this room, the AV equipment is going to be updated, and I sent out a date, and I did hear back from a couple of you that you might not be able to make it. Please just confirm with me by the end of this week, that way we can make sure we have quorum. I'd hate to waste your, those of you who are here, your time if we don't have quorum and you down here. And
If we can't do that date, is it possible for us to meet at a different time in a different place? The reason I say that is that if we're really gonna do the, Cruisers Appreciation Day, I have a feeling we need to meet somehow.
You would be able to meet upstairs, we would just have to take the cam.
And I don't think anybody cares about that, if we need to.
I'll work on some dates. In a perfect world, I'd love to have it in here, if not,
Yes.
understood, but if that's,
But I just think we have some things that we've got to address, and then the next meeting is in March, and it's like the week before the thing.
Okay.
So,
Would that date, excuse me, Mike Rattles, would that date remain February 10th? Is that what we're saying?
no,
I can look at your typical day and make sure that upstairs is available. Worst case scenario, we could go down to Newton Park. We've
done that before too.
I mean, there's plenty of options, but, I'll double check and I'll get back to you guys
Because
by the end of
I think
today.
we definitely need to find a time in February that we can have a quorum and meet.
I am gonna be out of town February 7th to the 13th.
Okay, so then he's not here. Mike's not here,
Yeah, I'm out for about 10 days myself, somewhere in that period.
so
What date is our typical February?
our typical
15th?
16th, I think
And you
is
said
our,
you're out till the 14th?
13th.
13th?
I'll be gone
Yeah, the typical would be the 16th.
8th through the 20th, I guess. I'll be gone both those weeks.
I'll confirm the availability of a location, and then I'll send it out, but we'll plan for the 16th, like your normally scheduled meeting. If not upstairs, definitely at Newton.
okay,
Typical would be best.
Yeah.
Date-wise.
does that work for you?
Our normal date.
Is your work for you? Normal date?
The 16th of
16th.
February.
You don't need to stay back there.
I'd like to turn this thing off so I wouldn't interfere.
Could do that.
I can turn it. So if you talk, you have to we'll have to turn it back on. I can turn it off if you want.
You wouldn't cough into the thing. All right. Yeah, we can, I don't mind meeting somewhere else. If the 16th works for people
If we can
better
keep our
than
day.
the 11th. I think we can manage on it.
I will still not be able to attend on the 16th, but I think you will have a quorum, so.
Sounds like hopefully we will. All right. We'll work on the strategic plan next time will be just kind of making sure we got everything in it whenever we do it, so that's fine. Well, let's move on to Cruisers Appreciation Day. Is this the final of what have we,
Yes. We've submitted the 50%, required 50% deposit.
and it's 1 to 5?
Yes. So the way we were brainstorming it is we'll issue 2 tickets per ball. Then anything beyond that, if somebody wants to go purchase something beyond that, they're more than welcome to, but 2 tickets per ball.
And the 2 tickets will get you everything at the Nugget Wagon? I mean,
I believe like 1 entree and a drink.
okay, so, all right.
So if there are, so if there are 4 choices at the Nugget Wagon, you have 2, you're going to get 2 meals, basically.
Yes. Yep.
And a soft drink.
A drink, yes.
Or any kind of rain out thing for our deposit?
I'll follow up with that. March? Come on. It'll be under the bridge. We'll be fine.
But we've sort of upped what we're giving them quite a bit, actually, I think, but.
Where were we gonna hold this?
Underneath the bridge.
That would be just kind of behind the Office, the mooring field office, that side of the,
That fourth part, the parking lot directly abutting the dock.
okay.
We contracted for 140 guests. Have we ever had even close to
No.
that in attendance? We've never had, I don't think, over 80 people.
We're being optimistic this year, Sam.
We're paying for that,
Yeah.
whether we have that or not.
Well, there's 7 of you, there's 3 staff, that's 10 right there, an additional, so.
So do we get the food for the other ones to donate to somebody?
I can tell you last time that, it was held over at Bay Oaks, they boxed up the rest of the food.
Okay.
They ran out of food.
Really?
By the time I got there.
Oh,
So this is open to the public.
yes.
We're not giving it away to the public.
No, absolutely not.
So how do we have a place where we charge somebody to get a meal?
That's Brooks Nugget Wagon. That's their deal.
Okay, does that include what we're paying for then?
Yeah, do we do tickets?
We will have tickets issued in a little grab bag.
Well, what I'm saying is, we're
That
not
should be our
gonna
money.
come,
Yeah.
we're not gonna come close to 140 with our giveaway. So shouldn't we be able to recoup some of the money for the 140?
If you want to reduce the 140 number, I can, but I'd hate to have, you can issue 1 ticket per ball.
Well, even when we go back, we've had, I think I sent out, I don't have it with me today, but we've had like 40 balls maximum.
Well, the occupancy also hasn't been 102%.
That's true. That's true.
So when we sell tickets,
Don't sell
We're
tickets.
not gonna sell tickets.
we're not gonna sell tickets. They're gonna sell food. They're gonna keep the cash, and we already paid for 140 people?
Get our 140 tickets.
So the
then
mooring
the
field
public
gets
pays
the
them directly?
140, yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna make a fortune that day.
You guys are saying there's not even going to be 140 mooring field patrons.
Doubt
But
it.
but we're
But-
paying for them, and then they're charging the public also.
Well, it is a little bit earlier, it is a full mooring field, but even when we've had it in March, we've never come close to that, but,
If you want to reduce the number, please let me know. I need to know sooner than later.
Maybe a black market for those people.
are we gonna have enough money to cover this? That's my concern too, that we will.
Yes, you guys had $2,500 on your add-on list.
But with our sign and with our giveaways, are we gonna still?
We're under budget.
We're under budget.
Yes.
Now, we talked about having, somebody have alcoholic beverages. Are we going to do that? Have you?
Yeah, we've reached out to the restaurants there. I'll go out and reanimate that and see if anybody. When I originally did it, we didn't have a set date, so
Okay.
there really wasn't a time frame for. Now that we have a set date, I'll go out and go ahead and let them know.
Your wine?
And they will have to apply for their own special event permit.
Okay. Okay, so we don't have to do that.
Yes, because it's their license that they would be having the satellite.
So on that subject,
I will help you with the special event permit.
so I'll need a special permit for the event itself, and then the food truck has their own permits. So
We have to,
we include them.
yeah, we just have to say what the special event is. I'll help you through that
It'll
process.
just be us plus the truck.
I wonder, well, I guess if we have another beverage person, it would be my thought that we need to have, because they'll get a soda or one drink with the meal. That we might want to have, water available.
I believe they,
Maybe our other
We
vendor.
did last.
To have more than one though, I mean, because you would get one with the meal,
we can mention that.
that if we're gonna have another beverage vendor, I think we need to have a soft drink option and maybe a water option through that vendor too.
Okay, we'll mention that.
You know, if it's a hot day, they're gonna need more than one beverage,
Absolutely.
so.
Speaking of beverages, real quick, I don't know if any of you have been down there, but the laundry room had a antiquated vending machine in there that was owned by Matanzas, and so we actually have gone ahead and purchased one that should be delivered any day now. That'll be another nominal but a revenue source for the mooring field.
Okay, on top of this
Excuse me,
then,
Kathy.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Mike Ratliff again. Going back to this alcohol thing, so we're going to approach another vendor to handle the alcohol, am I correct in
So
saying?
we've asked the local businesses, dedicate a satellite bar and bring a satellite bar and then.
If interested.
sales. Yeah, if interested, conduct sales through a satellite bar.
Again, they would have to pull their own
That-
special event permit, and
That's what I was leading up to. They
Yes.
would have to pull their own.
yes, exactly.
We offer it to Matanzas so they get a first shot at it.
Yes, I did offer Matanzas, Snook Harbor, Pierside, Placas, Pete's Timeout, Mangoes, La Ola, and Sunset Beaches so far.
Okay. We're kind of taking a bid on that.
Okay, so, I passed out, I think last time, I hope everybody may have brought, the raffle, as, I'm assuming we're still gonna have a raffle. And it's not too early for us to approach businesses. I hope, did people bring their lists? Or have one extra?
I'll take it.
That, I don't think it's too early to start approaching, and this was from 2019, which was the last time we did it. So, if you didn't bring it, well, I'll just go down through it, because I think we should divide up who we are. Since Greg's not here, I'm going to assign him some. And we need to find out about Greg, because I don't know what's happening with him. Okay, Pierside Grill, I did, so I will do it again. Bonita Bills, I think Sam did. Matanzas was hosting our thing. Sam, do you want to do that? Okay. Lani Kai, I think that was when we had Bill on the committee and he did that. Does anybody want to approach Lani Kai? We don't have to approach everybody, and there may be other ones that we want to that aren't on this list. They've certainly, Zushi, I think Greg did, so I'm going to put him down. Beach Bar, Mike, I think you did. Skies, I think Ed did. South Beach, I think you did. Okay, Doug will do South Beach.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Okay, then Ted can do that. And Bar, Ed as well. They did last time. They wouldn't have been on this list. This is the list of the people that did in 2019, so they did. Parrot Key, did you do that, Bob?
Yeah, I'll still do Parrot Key and Key West Express, the
Okay,
tickets.
all right. I did Shipwreck, so I'm willing to do that again as well. The Goods, I think Mike did.
Can do that one.
Local Color, I did. Et cetera. I don't know that they will. That just they cut my hair, so I think that's why they did last time. Joanne Champ just happened. I think she was on the town council then and did. So I don't know that. I could email her again, I suppose. Matanzas Inn was.
Want me to do restaurant and hotel as
Yeah,
best I can?
think, yeah. Moms, I think Greg did, so I'll put him on for that again. Nervous Nellies, I don't know who did that. I'm gonna put Greg on for that too. Dog Tours, I think he was in the mooring field, I think, something then, so. Castaways, they're not still there.
Now Oliver's.
You wanna do Oliver's? Okay. And I think Greg did Fresh Catch too, so. Now, that didn't leave you any. Do you have some?
Snook Bite or something.
Snook Bite? Okay,
I'd live right now.
okay. Ed, you were saying something?
No, I go there sometimes. That's
Okay.
all.
Do you have
Know where
some,
it is.
somewhere else that you'd like to try as well as that?
Well, nothing comes to mind right
Okay.
now, but,
What I would say is if anybody, besides what's on this list that we've done today, Can they email me to say they're gonna do it?
Email me, I'll compile
Email
the list.
Chelsea, because I don't want two people going to the same place. So if you think of somewhere, email and she can,
Or if you-
It's
if
true
you-
for everybody, so
If
we
you
don't double
stopped by someplace new, please let us know.
yeah, exactly, other than what's on this list.
So just, because I haven't done this
Okay.
before, we're just asking them if they want to donate.
Yeah, I have a letter that I have you take. I will send it to Chelsea, and it, yeah, and you could put your own name on it, I put my name on it, it just kind of explains what we're looking for, a gift certificate or something, and we have a raffle, that we do at the event. People buy tickets, and we give away, items, whatever it is.
If could suggest, Peddler and Local Color are always generous.
Yes, it's on
Ask-
here.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear you mention them.
Yeah, I had Local Color, and she's always very generous, yes. So it can be an item or a gift certificate, or,
You and Sam will be handling that raffle.
that's what we've always done it.
We have double tickets?
As we get closer, we'll have to probably have some change. We won't have to have a lot of change since we're not selling tickets this year, but as far as for us to be able to.
For the raffle.
For the raffle,
We'll have petty cash available
Yeah.
for change.
yeah. But we can get back to that later.
And press releases, I'll update the press release, and
Well, if you want to update it and then send it to me, I'll get it to our PIO, and I know she has some good contacts.
maybe it'll be easier to do it that way this year, and I'll just mention the papers that we put it in before and
That'd be perfect.
way easier.
I will send, I've got several, I've got the letter and I've got some stuff about the event and stuff that either Chelsea can print it out for you or can send it to you electronically, so you'll have something to take.
Email it.
Yep, yeah.
What's she called? Chief Information Officer?
Public information officer.
Information.
All right.
I just want to make a point that this is your event. We're here to assist as needed and facilitate. But again, I'll help you out through the process, through the permitting process, through the, communicating with Jenny, our PIO, Austin, and printing out the flyers and posting them in the mooring field, getting word out to the patrons, things like that. So we are means to assist you with this event. Then if you have questions, don't ever hesitate to give me a call or shoot me an email.
Mike Ratliff again, just for a discussion, I know we always, as individual members, go out and approach merchants and what have you, and they've been very generous. Has anyone ever approached someone like the chamber and asked them to ask their members to donate raffle prizes? I mean, they have a captive audience there of many, many merchants, and I'm wondering if that could be a conduit that we could perhaps.
Glad you just volunteered, Mike.
Well, I was thinking, no, I can go across the street. Jackie's place is across near where I live, and I could just simply ask. Because I was just thinking, there are lots of places on the beach that we have not mentioned. We go back to the same people, and I'm just wondering if we need to kind of try and get some new blood, so to speak, or certainly let other people know that this is something that we're trying to accomplish.
Well, and I don't know how difficult it will be this year with COVID and all of the
Right.
stuff that's going on about, how they will respond to our.
Similar to what Mike said, the Times Square Merchants
Right,
Association.
those kinds of things.
There's not very many of those in here, except for Pierside and Local Color are in here, but, yeah. Roger?
Hi, good morning, everybody. I was just gonna mention that, the Chambers has an after hours coming up, and a lot of the members come, like John Gavin of ACE, he's always there, and he's very generous, and other places, other businesses are there, so maybe if someone went to that, you wouldn't only see Jackie, but you would also see the actual business members, and she usually does a little announcement and a little something there, so maybe she could mention the group that you all are looking for donations for your,
When is that?
I'll check the date,
I'll get it to you.
Okay,
but it's soon.
okay. Thank
Somebody
you.
wants to volunteer for an after-hours party?
Yeah, we'll see.
They have adult beverages, I mean.
All right. Well, I think probably, anybody have anything else? I think we're pretty well along for what we need to be right now, it looks
I
like.
just need to get with Chelsea on the permit. That's the only time-sensitive
That's-
thing.
Yes, absolutely. The sooner we can get that in, the better, just because,
Yeah, and I will get out these things within the next couple days, so if people just happen to be somewhere, you know, it's not anything that has to be done today, but, you know, if you happen to be somewhere and see somebody.
Stay today for a minute if you have time.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Harbor management plan. I hope some of you have had a chance to go through some of it. I have an extra copy here, if anybody needs one. Woody?
I have an extra copy too.
I came over and got one the other day,
did
but
too.
I can't find my copy now. Too much paper here.
Extra.
I have it right here, thanks.
Oh.
It's just I have too many sheets of paper here.
While you're pulling this out, I just want to make a point that this is the first of many drafts
Drafts,
of this,
yes.
because we went through and addressed some of the main operational issues that Austin's come across since we've taken this in-house, but there's still some more details in here that we need to address, and of course, as we continue to learn and grow, overseeing the management, we'll have more edits to make. But this, again, first draft, you'll see I did add some comments in there. Again, maybe doing some further research on statutes or ordinances and making sure those are still valid and accurate. But again, first draft, take it for what it is.
Well, maybe, let's see, it's 9:45. I'm not sure we're gonna get all the way through this today,
That's fine.
but maybe we should work on it for a while.
Has everyone had a chance to at least give a cursory review of it? Or is that cursory review right now?
It's right now for me.
Okay, that's fine.
It's the exact same thing as in our mailbox.
Yes. Yes,
By electric, yeah.
electronic, and then we had hard copies printed, and then we gave you hard copies today.
Okay, well, let's work a little bit on it, and, as you say, it's kind of gonna be a ongoing process. This is the first draft, and see where we get. What do we have left to do today? Nothing, so this is kind of it. Okay, the first thing I would say on the cover is that because of ordinance, at the Anchorage Advisory Committee, that's part of our job, prepare this. So our name should stay there.
Okay.
But my suggestion, because I went back and pulled all my copies, the first one was done by Coastal Engineering. Very, very first one, and that was the name on it. Ever since then, it's had Anchorage Advisory Committee, but to me, to be more accurate, what's always happened is the Town of Fort Myers Beach staff and the Anchorage Advisory Committee have worked on it, have done it since then. So it would be my suggestion that we need to leave the Anchorage Advisory Committee there, but the Town of Fort Myers Beach staff and the Anchorage Advisory Committee is more accurate about who actually prepares it. Anybody have any ideas about that?
I would just put Town of Fort Myers Beach, because you guys are part of the Town of Fort Myers
Right.
Beach.
But it's in our ordinance that we prepare it, so I think our name should be there as well. That's,
Probably should say Town of Fort Myers Beach Advisory
yes,
Committee.
exactly.
Well, let's say Town of Fort Myers Beach staff and Anchorage Advisory Committee.
But you need the word staff.
Or just Town of Fort Myers Beach? How would you like it?
Town of Fort Myers Beach and Anchorage Advisory
Okay.
Committee.
Okay. Obviously, the page numbers may change depending on what happens, so,
Like they all changed.
yeah,
Here.
well, they could change again, so. Page 4, as it is, I think that second paragraph is fine. The Matanzas past mooring field is what it says, so. And the rules and regulations capitalized? people?
Yeah.
But you capitalize if it's like a noun, find rules and regulations for the document.
Is it
It's
called
just-
rules and regulations? Is it,
The appendix it is,
and it's capitalized?
I believe so.
Then it would,
We have the appendix here. Let's see. Yeah, it is a document, is that correct?
well then,
Yes.
you're correct.
Find it. I don't find it in this copy, but
Okay, maybe not.
let's take a look here.
The rules and regulations are encompassed in the mooring field rental agreement, and so maybe that's something we need to assess moving forward, is to take out the actual rental agreement document, since we are using DACWA, and just titling that the rules and regulations of Matanzas Pass Mooring Field.
Find it more complete.
Well, there's rules and regulations in here, in this document. Essentially, the rental agreement parrots this. And that's something we need to address too. If, currently, is that rental agreement, I'm kind of going to a different place, is that on DACWA?
Yes, so when you check the box that you're agreeing to the terms and conditions, this agreement is hyperlinked in the terms and conditions. If you click that hyperlink, you're gonna literally see this exact document.
Rules and regulations is number E in this document, so,
I think it's fine.
capitalize
Any
it?
problem with it.
Okay. All right, where am I? Which page? Okay, page 4. All right, the third paragraph, it's fine, I guess, on what the changes. Anybody have any?
Which one now are you speaking of, Kathy?
Third paragraph on page 4, the town is retaining harbor master duties and responsibilities. There should be,
Wording seems awkward to me.
yeah, well, didn't the "and" stay in? And will manage registration and upland service, I don't,
Town is retaining harbor master, the harbor master. Responsibilities and to manage.
should be another something in there. Oh, well, there's a "the" that got left in there that shouldn't be there, the town's harbor
Yeah,
master.
it's a separate sentence.
Will manage registration and upland services. Any questions, any? The second sentence, if we defined what harbor master meant, do we need to have, can't we just say the harbor master will manage registration and upland services for the facility? After we had the first sentence? Is that okay? We don't have to have the town's harbor master again. Just have the harbor master. There wasn't any change in the fourth paragraph. I haven't really read anything more besides just what your changes were, so I guess all of us should probably do that anyway.
What is not edited is the current acting harbor management plan.
Right, but I'm saying I didn't read anything for this meeting more than what you proposed.
Okay.
And I suspect all of us should read everything.
Yes. Highly recommend.
Right. Which I did not do for this meeting because this is sort of a preliminary meeting, but as we go forward, I think we should all read
Before we
everything
get
because
to
we
the
may,
final.
we may have some things in some of the other edits.
Yes.
But right now, we're just going through this part. The next edit was under rules and regulations.
Just all of the titles you'll see are edited because I actually created a table of contents that
Okay.
auto updates.
So they're blue,
Yes.
which they wouldn't be in the final document. They'd be more like what's in our other one. Is that what you're saying, or?
And I mean, I can change whatever color font you want. the table.
Basically, those just refer back to the table of content.
So
The
it-
content's what you established.
PDF document,
Right,
you can
sure.
click it, it automatically
Gotcha.
goes to it.
Okay, and they didn't, it didn't, did that, I guess it didn't, and so you didn't put like 1, 2, 3, 4 on that used to be on the old one, the Roman numerals and stuff? And are we going to do that, or?
That's formatting. If you want it, I can put it, it's not an issue.
Okay. Town will appoint full-time town employee to act as the harbor master. This plan, the town is act, it's designated.
Do we want the word full-time in there?
Absolutely.
I think that was
That was
in
part of the-
before anyway, correct? Yes, it was in the old plan. And it never was a full-time person.
Uba was full-time.
Oh, yeah, well, and it's not necessarily full-time to the mooring field. It's just
Okay,
a
that's
full-time
okay.
employee.
Full-time
But
employee.
it's not necessarily all mooring field.
Correct.
And that was true, that's been true
have the
until
position.
recently,
Okay.
correct? I have in number 2, I think we should use another word instead of may grant his, her subordinate. And the reason I say that is because you already said today you flexed over to do it, and you're not the subordinate. You're not a subordinate.
Agreed.
So I would like to, I mean, the idea of having another person or something is fine, but subordinate should not be the word.
With the word delegate,
Delegate or may grant, however we want to word it, but we should find another way to say that.
harbor master responsibilities by
Something,
Okay.
okay? So find another word for that. Yeah, number 3. And essentially, I've noticed it several times. Number 4, we've decided instead of is authorized to effect, you've changed it to make, is authorized to make the necessary, which I think is fine. It happened several times in this document as I, anything with number 3 or number 4, right now at least, in a preliminary look. Service provider. I'm not sure we should put the word least in there.
Contracted.
When I was reading, it's essentially we want to have something in there that says we may have a service provider at some time in the future. And that service provider, I mean, we know what we have now, we know what we've had, we don't know what the future will bring as far as a service provider. It could go back to what we had before, we've talked about leasing things and having somebody else run it. I want to make it, I guess I want to make this to be
Flexible.
really flexible, so you don't have to come back and address it again.
more generic.
Yeah, and so I guess I would just not even put leased in there.
That was going to be my
Just take it
suggestion,
out.
just leave out the word
leave it
lease.
out.
And say provide certain upland, and I would put services and/or amenities that may include, and I guess I wouldn't cross off, well, there's a long list, but, okay, how did I do this? Upland services or amenities that may include but are not limited to those couple of things, and performance of duties as may be directed by the harbor master. I'd like to make it pretty generic, that it could be that they would go back to doing what we did before, or it could be really different, just much more generic.
town as parties.
Okay.
I think we want these things to not pin us down. They need to be
Well, and that we
open-ended
don't have to come back
very
and do
general.
this again
Yes.
because we get into a situation that doesn't cover, actually.
We'll see how far FDEP wants details on this.
And there's that too. I understand that too. Yeah, and so I guess right at this point, we'll reword
I'll reword that.
more general. But we do have to have something in that we could contract with someone else to do stuff, essentially. And the last thing to be crossed off is fine, obviously. So we don't have a service provider agreement. Number 2. Okay, vessel registration. Can you contact the harbor master by DACWA? That was my question.
A message. You can message or do an inquiry.
Okay.
Get it.
That was just my question on that.
You could say such as DACWA message.
Well, there's multiple ways in DACWA.
To communicate, okay. Anybody have anything else there for now? Mooring rental agreement. Now, eventually, we're going to have another mooring rental agreement, is that correct?
What do you mean another?
Well, I mean, it'll be revised.
I think we need to evaluate and revise because we're trying to get away from paper applications.
Correct.
So I think we can figure out a way to.
But do we have to still appendix it to this agreement? Because this goes to DEP.
I think what we should do is state in words what is required as part of the agreement, insurance, basically everything that's on the existing agreement that's reiterating this harbor management plan. Keep that, but not have it as a form. Have it as like rules and regulations.
The details will be on DACWA and they'll be updated as we go.
Yes.
So where do we need to reference that?
Yes.
So we need to do that where? Here?
Yes.
And
Okay.
coordinate it with what's already on DACWA and what they're going to require.
So we need to add to this mooring rental agreement somewhere? Or is that already here in the rules and regulations?
We can say the let me think about this one.
Okay, so I'm just going to put a question here. Reference. What?
Just put rules and regs, form, and words. I think maybe we can still reference this in the appendix, but not call it a form.
Okay,
All of that information is in the mooring field, the rental agreement. I don't think we need to repeat it. Detail, let's keep it simple,
I'll brainstorm on that one.
okay, we need to think about something, because I'm sure DEP is going to need something.
I want to give them details, I just don't want to put it in a paper form version, so I'll come up with something and get it back to you next version.
Okay,
No, we dictate what is part of, I mean, we have to look at our submerged land lease and make sure, like, it has to be a,
We do have certain criteria that the state sets forth, whether it be first come, first served, 90% open to the public, pump out requirements.
seaworthy.
Yeah,
I
seaworthy,
have
and
piece
things
of
like
it
that.
right here.
On top of that, we can't make any rules or regulations that contradict anything.
This is us, this document is us telling FDEP how we're operating and managing the mooring field. Like the insurance requirement is something we put on a couple years ago because we kept having issues.
Meanwhile, you left it off of this,
Okay, well,
by accident.
okay,
That's on page 9.
all right, we'll get to it.
Yeah, I didn't notice that was left off, so. Okay. All right, okay. Rules and regulations governing the mooring field rental agreement, yeah,
Like
I'm sorry.
like everything else in this town, we don't put numbers, prices in resolutions, ordinances, we reference the fee schedule. So that was trying to bring this to what, everything else that we're doing. We reference the fee schedule that town council adopts every fiscal year in tandem with the budget. I didn't want to put $5 a day late fee in this, just, we can address that in the fee schedule.
So the fee schedule has rental fee in it,
Yes,
that's what you're saying.
yes.
Want to throw in the word current fee schedule? Or it's just assumed?
It's assumed.
Okay,
Oh, right, it's posted, okay.
late fees will be assessed on a per-day basis as, you don't like the word determined in the schedule, obviously. As in the schedule, does that make sense, the way it says? Okay, now, you crossed off all of the $5 a day thing, and we still need to address this, your comment on the side?
So two operational concerns that we've had recently, and actually since before Matanzas was running it, is how this was written was how we were operating before, where somebody would come in and sign a 6-month contract and then pay month to month. That's not how we operate now. You sign and pay for whatever the length of your stay. You don't sign a 6-month contract and then the first of every month I'll come in and pay. No, if you sign a 6-month contract, you pay a 6-month contract. So the problem that we're having is some people have set up their accounts to where they like auto renew, and when their thing goes to renew, failed payment on our end, and then they don't come in until 5 days later and pay. Well, technically, you don't have an active reservation or an active contract with the town because you haven't paid for one. So one of the issues is they shouldn't be paying $5 a day. They should be paying the $18 per day because they've been out there for those 5 days without an active contract. If that makes sense.
Right, that they've automatically switched to daily.
Yeah. Shouldn't, I mean, this is definitely one of the paragraphs that I said, one of the reasons why I said this is a first draft, because we have to figure out operationally what's easier for us. Because right now they have to go in and manually tack on a late fee, and the late fee doesn't start accruing until after the 5th day, and that's doesn't make sense. So, and then time frame. The other comment on here was address the time frame for renewal. Somebody's contract, if Austin comes in and he says, you know, I'm staying, my contract or, you know, my time reservation expires tomorrow, well, most of the time people are waiting until the last minute to come in and re-up it, whereas guys in the office are saying, nope, we have a vacancy starting tomorrow because he's leaving the field. And
Basically what we're doing is requesting anybody that is expected to stay in the field, or that if they want to extend their contract currently, to come in 24 hours prior to expiration of their current contract, so that we can anticipate that ball being occupied for the following upcoming day, basically on their expected departure day. Instead, they're coming in on their departure day. When we have a boat coming into the field, we're anticipating that ball being vacant, and we're reassigning that ball where it actually states in the harbor management plan.
Do they know that they need to do this?
That's what we're trying to cover now.
I'm saying, if that's what, if there needs to be some signage up or something.
We've been informing them verbally that if you are expected to stay or extend your contract, it needs to be extended 24 hours prior to the current contract expiration.
And their messaging in DACWA, their
And
messaging.
like in
that
real
there's-
estate leases, you know, you'll have, if you're going to renew, you've got to notify 30 or 60 days prior to the expiration of the lease. Maybe something should be put in the lease agreement that says if you intend to stay beyond, we need to go 24 hours, 48 hours prior to.
Exactly, and that's why this comment is in here, is because that's an operational issue we're having, because like Austin said, we have 14 people on the wait list that are biting at the bit to get into the field. Is, you know, coming in the day of their departure and trying to re-up, well, I'm sorry, we've already sold.
Is there something on DACWA that says this too? About renewal?
I don't believe so, not currently.
Is there a way to do that at the moment?
Yes, we can update.
I think as much as we can let people know,
Hit them up front, so when they first sign up, they see that.
as many ways that we can let them know this, at least operational right now, and then we can figure out a way to address it in here. And that's actually really obviously come with the field being full and using DACWA. Those are a couple of ways that, over what we used to do.
Are we governed by tenant landlord laws of Florida?
Question. From what I understand, we're governed by our submerged land lease with the state, and this harbor management plan.
I wonder if we're governed by that on top of it we haven't gotten that far with any of our or anything. I wonder if we're
I mean,
governed
there's a
by-
whole state statute that we have to follow when it comes to eviction that's specifically related to vessels. I don't know that the
We
whole
might not.
landlord-tenant thing is applicable, but I can ask.
Okay, so essentially, we've got to figure out what we're doing here, which we haven't, and maybe some people can think about it here too. Because right off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Okay. We want to move on then? How long do people want to go with this today?
I actually have another meeting at 11.
Maybe
I mean,
we
you
ought
guys
to
can keep
table
going.
it, and that way we can actually, you know, I'll have time to read through it and make notes out to the side, rather than try to do it as we read it.
Okay.
And I sent it to you all in editing mode, so if you go in Word and you start editing and typing, it'll note, you know, in a different color, you know, that Bob edited this, and then that way, when we come back, you can look and see what your edits were compared to mine, compared to the original.
Why don't we finish this page, go down to the bottom of this page and stop? Is that all right? Because I don't think there's much left on this page, really. Okay, because the next one, security deposits, at least, well, and as I said before, I think we all need to read everything, because we may have some things that we want to go back to again. Offset any damage attributed by the renter. Owed by the renter damage.
Might want us to have some word like the harbor master is full discretion authority to use. Make it clear that, hey, it's not an argument if he.
Okay. I'm not sure why we would change to buy. The reason for that.
Was that, Kathy?
It's in this.
Oh, okay, down
Yeah,
at the bottom,
it
yes.
says,
uh-huh.
against any delinquent balance owed by the renter or to offset any damage attributed to the renter. I think it should be left as to. I mean, the first
It's
one
either
is,
attributed to or contributed by.
well, the balance is owed by, damage is attributed to someone, isn't it?
I believe two is a more direct,
Yeah.
I think it should be left that way,
who's
as I
responsible
read
for
that.
that.
Okay.
Did you just say damages caused by the renter?
Could. Okay, number 3, and then we'll stop here so people have a chance to. Rules and regulations capitalized. Okay, it has the town's office. Is that the office here or the office there, or both?
Both.
Okay. That was my question. Are they in the Upland office? And
If not, Austin will triple check that they're there today.
because they should be down there, too.
I mean, we have digital copies on the website and
Sure.
available that, anytime we can pull up. We'll make sure hard copies are available in a binder down there.
Actually, let's finish this paragraph, which is on the next page, and stop, because there is that. But this is a whole, this 24 hours removing the vessel and thing is a whole thing. That's a whole can of worms, I think, all of this
There's
stuff.
a statute
with
that
this.
dictates all of this, which I'm becoming more familiar with than I care to be.
Okay,
Thank you, Halo.
so, well, I'm not sure. I mean, we've been around this before when we've worked on this document.
I think with this one, let me talk to the town attorney and just maybe we can reference that statute.
Okay.
Because that dictates, like derelict vessels and then eviction and things like
Might be a case where you do want to reference it.
Right.
Got you.
Well, and we've gone around this even though, that, but then, taking over vessels, I mean, we have nowhere to go with them, and we've had that whole discussion with all of that stuff too, and it's a whole can of worms. But, okay, so today is the date today, 19th? So, let's stop there for now. Let's start.
We've got some homework.
Yeah.
So speaking of Halo, really quick, our town attorney was successful and went to court, and we're able to move the vessel, to sell it and recoup lost revenues. We have to do some postings and some certified mailings, which will be done tomorrow. And and I think there's a time frame on there that we give them. That they have to respond or they have to make payment or contact me. But after that process, which again is all dictated by state statute, hopefully we'll be able to take the boat. And I think they're putting an actual lien on it as well right now. But our town attorney has been unsuccessful in getting in communication or contact with the vessel owner. But we're still making strides and trying to resolve this because it's a system that said we have 14 people on the wait list that want to be in our field, so.
And this is the boat that's in the east field? Is it there? It's been there a long time.
Yep, a couple years.
So where would we move it to?
We don't want to touch it right now, because we want to try to recoup the funds.
Well, it costs money to move it to somewhere too. Yeah, okay.
Go back to Austin for a delinquent report.
As of right now, we've got nothing on the delinquents. The only thing that we do have on the books is the Halo. Through DACA and stuff, we've pretty much wiped out all of our delinquent and late payments. The cards on file, we do have everybody in the field does have a card on file, minus maybe one. But other than that, I mean, stock was pretty much cleared out. Any ad with late payments.
One thing that we are working on too is those that are delinquent or have a failed payment. Austin is working to address it with those people, understanding that this is unacceptable and that their reservation or their request may not be accepted in the future if they continue to have either failed payments or late payments. Like I said, we'll take advantage, and 14 people on the wait list that These are issues that we shouldn't have to be dealing with.
I think, and you probably do, when you're talking to these people, like, say, hey, we have plenty of people waiting to get in, not patience for.
Exactly.
Bob, do you have a member item? Oh, Mike?
No.
Doug? I would say if, I guess I would just say if, Mike said he's unable to be at our next meeting, that, you do what Chelsea said, or make a list of things that, of your concerns with the harbor management plan, that you can send to her, or do the edits as she said you could do, that would be in color, so that we have your ideas, or anybody else that's unable to be at the next meeting.
I do have just a couple other things, if you don't mind. So going back to that FBIP grant, with a stipulation with applying for funds, grant funding, is you have to have permits in hand. So we're brainstorming other ideas that we could potentially apply for funding for. As you all know, on town council's radar is finding a permanent upland facility location. So we're constantly trolling realtor.com and other websites and looking for potential locations for an upland service. Touch on that?
So, as you may imagine, one of the challenges that we have is that we're overtly showing interest in a particular piece of property, the price paradigm shifts very quickly. So we want to be respectful of this committee, but we also have to be able to move expeditiously if we find a piece of land at a reasonable price that might meet the needs of the town. And frankly, I don't know that there's an easy way of doing that, other than to say that with your indulgence, if we get fortunate, or lucky, or lottery, whatever you want to put it, we find something that we believe meets our needs. So we're going to have to figure out a way to get it under contract, and then let you evaluate it. And your evaluation, because in some cases now with the way the real estate market is, for those of you who follow the real estate market, like people are buying things on the internet, they're paying cash sight unseen, seller's market and all of that. So I just want to be clear with you all that, that you understand that if by luck or skill we find something that we can move forward to at least get it to a council decision, which of course you can show up and share your thoughts about the parcel. But I don't know that we would normally do with another item, which is bring it here, discuss it here, then advance it to town council, discuss it, because really, on a real estate deal in these times, that probably wouldn't work. So with that said, have any questions or concerns or things you would like to discuss about that, with respect to, how we envision proceeding if we do get fortunate and find a piece of property?
I've got a question. So we know the town would be looking for an on-water site, right?
Yes.
Not looking for off-water. So with an on-water site, does it have to be zoned commercial? Or does the town have the option of buying a residential in a residential area and then making it commercial?
Well, as part of the council's decision to proceed with the purchase, any needed zoning adjustments would be brought to their attention at that particular time. Let's just say it was a residential piece of property. It would become public if the town owned it, but they would be apprised of that at that particular time, prior to saying, go ahead and purchase the property.
Yeah, because you know, obviously as the residents that being on the waterfront that pay a high tax rate, sure they would be concerned about that, you know.
Well, that's the other
Commercial is
challenge.
limited.
The challenge is not only finding a site that's suitable and quick proximity to mooring field and, you know, one where hopefully we're not surrounded on 3 sides or 4 sides by residences, you know, so I mean, those are all considerations, but,
That Bayside
you know, I
Park
mean,
was your perfect place,
well,
unfortunately.
well, you know, I don't want to rehash the past, but obviously if the staff didn't feel that it had many strong features, we wouldn't have advanced it as a suggestion, but that's the past, and now we need to move forward. Are there other questions or points, or any limiting factor that you say, if it's this, we're good whatsoever?
Roger, I do have just a question about one of the comments you just made, so I want to be sure I'm clear. In relation to Bayside Park, did I understand you to say that the staff never made that suggestion?
Oh, we did.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear. Thank you.
No, we did, I was agreeing with Bob that we felt that that was a very good location, which is why we suggested it to town council. Well, actually, this committee and town council, and unfortunately, it didn't make it over the finish line.
Well, we vetted a bunch of places before, so I think we have kind of a consensus on what our priorities were. And not to rehash it, but, I mean, we unanimously recommended Bayside, and it, so whatever we thought didn't hold enough power to get it in. But when we rehashed all those, all the benefits and the deficiencies of all the old places, we have a pretty good record of exactly what we wanted as far as, so you can maybe look back at that if you don't have a chance to consult us and see what we thought were priorities on that. I think we did a priority list and a workshop on it.
I think so, and we've certainly had a lot of discussion with Chelsea, with various entities about waterfront, you know, the amenities we want to have. You know, obviously where we are now is not waterfront, but it's really close to our dinghy dock. So, I mean, if there was something else down there that came up too, it would work as well. But I think we've spent years going through this, so I think people are pretty much, but it would be nice if something happens, at least to notify maybe Sam or me, if it's like going to council or something, so that we know it. That's
We
something.
could do that.
I mean, I know we can't meet and hash it out, but at least be
Yeah,
kept
soon,
aware of
yeah,
what's
we could
going
let
on.
you know as soon as we have a, this proposal or contract from the seller, then their signature is on it, you know, so, you know, once we have that, once we have the seller's signature where sort of the terms and conditions can't change other than by us accepting it, you know, we could share it at that point. Just before that point, it gets a little
I
tricky.
understand with the market and with everything that's going on, we don't have the luxury.
And I will mention one point, you know, as you know, in some cases, we have some, you know, deeper canals, meaning a longer stretch from the canal. And that might be a compromise we may have to deal with. You know, that it won't be right on the river, so to speak.
Well, we have to, in doing that, there can't be much of a trek on land.
There won't be any trek on land. I'm saying that just, you know, some of the canals.
Oh, going up
are
a
longer
water,
than-
it would be
longer
available
than
by
shorter,
water.
and,
Yeah, I get it.
if we eliminate the longer ones, we've eliminated,
I
you know,
understand
80% of the island. So we just want to be clear that in some cases, so there may be a little bit of a ride down the canal, which of course, you know, creates other concerns that we'll have to deal with, but just so you know, we're not eliminating those from consideration.
Okay. Do you have any comments or?
I would, I mean, totally understand.
Well,
See
it's,
something, you're
it's,
gonna have to move.
it's definitely the market and what's going on, and as you said, if, once it looks like we're interested, the price doubles.
Of our comments this morning are two, is, that we want you to be aware that we haven't given up. And that we're still as Chelsea mentioned, we're actively, regularly, looking for opportunities. So, about that. So I want you to be aware of that. We haven't given up. And two is that when we have found something, it, you know, price-wise and otherwise, it's just, you know, it fall off the table pretty quick. So, you know, Chelsea and I were talking, and we just said, well, you know, what happens if we get lucky or good? What do we do? You know, and since we have your meeting scheduled for today, I just wanted to come in, and Chelsea wanted to mention it to you all that, you know, circumstances being what they are, if we can find something, we're going to try to at least get it to town council, at which point, you know, if you have strong thoughts one way or the other, you can let the council know.
Get it to town council, just make sure that we're advised, because we'll have a chance during whatever meeting you're
It'll
discussing
be
to
on
do
the,
a committee or
you know,
public.
it'll be on the agenda, and it'll be a prominent item, you know, so
Us a heads
we'll
up
make
on
sure you know about it. And again, as soon as we have the agenda item in hard copy, we'll share it with you. Like, as soon as, when they see it, you'll see it.
Sounds fair.
Do you have any further comments?
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Roger. Chelsea, did you have anything else?
Last thing, Roger shared the time of that chamber dinner thing, and
okay.
that would actually be tomorrow night, 5:30 to 7:30 at Diamond Head. In that, I don't know how to say the restaurant. Cost? C-O-S-T-E?
Stay.
Costa? Costa?
Costa.
I don't know. Anyway,
You
yes.
don't put the accent mark or the.
Yeah, it's got the, yes. So I don't know if somebody from this committee wants
I
to
can't.
attend that.
I can't make it.
Yeah, I have a thing. And this doesn't have to do with Anchorage Advisory, but it's a town issue. I'm trying to publicize it. We're doing an Adopt a Tree event on Friday. I wanted to be sure to tell you all, because I know you're all residents, that you can get a free tree, a native tree from the town. The time has passed to actually fill out the application for it, but last time we did it, we had extra trees, so if you show up, I practically guarantee that you'll get one. This Friday from 9 to noon at
Here?
Bay Oaks.
Oh, Bay Oaks, okay.
Bay Oaks. We're going to have Orange Geiger and Bahama Strongbarks this year. We are changing. We skipped last year, but we did it the year before that. And we change up the trees from year to year. Aren't interested in those. If you have a neighbor that, you know, able but could use a tree in their yard, you could apply and get their signature. Or had people come and do that for neighbors. So it's a program I'm really trying to get going, because when I go and visit other islands, I see a lot more shade and canopy than I do on back to our island. Spread the news to your friends and neighbors as well. Friday morning.
I think I have one quick thing, and
Yes.
I don't mean to go back over this, but earlier I brought up the thing about the dinghy dock, just for clarification. So we have the grant money for the dinghy dock, is that correct?
No.
No, we do not.
Grant money that is imminent is for the construction of the expansion, the 19 mooring systems on we're in the permitting process for the dinghy dock at Bayside Park.
And we are getting neighborly,
Neighborly love.
Jim, do you have any comments at this time? Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Next meeting, we're going to,
I'm going to see
The
if
regular?
it can be upstairs on February 16th, if that's available.
and I think pretty much everything we have on the agenda should be there still. Any additions, or we have a lot of work to do? So February 16th upstairs, or you said maybe,
Or to be, or maybe
Or
at
to be
Newton.
determined.
At Newton,
or Newton?
potentially.
Okay, which is fine with me. I've done both.
With me. Traffic.
Yeah, better for you
Yeah.
than some of us.
You'll, of course, you'll get the agenda out, can advance, and, in the meantime, I'll try to get you guys an answer confirming that date and location by the end of today.
Okay. Motion to adjourn,
Bob Beasley, motion to adjourn.
and I do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
It's all right. I'm just glad you showed up, Ted.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. Glad everybody's here. Here are minutes, Austin, signed. There, thank you. You too. All right, well.
Jay doing, Kathy?
He is doing great.